Welcome back to another session. In this session, we are going to learn about law of demand and its exceptions. So, law of demand means, as I said earlier, demand and price is having negative relationship or inverse relationship. That means when price increases, demand decreases. When price reduces, demand will increase. So this relationship is called as negative relationship or inverse relationship. So law states that when price increases, demand will decrease. When price reduces, demand will increase. So that is called law of demand. When coming to the definition, according to Samuelson, law of demand may be stated as the quantity demanded increases with a fall in price and decreases with a rise in price. So that is the overall meaning is law of demand means when price increases, demand will decrease. When price reduces, demand will increase. So that relationship is called as inverse relationship. So in law of demand, according to the law of demand, we can see inverse or negative relationship in between price and demand. That is called law of demand. So this can be explained with this particular example table. So if we take these two columns, so first one is price, second one is quantity demanded. So if price is 5 rupees, quantity demanded is 1000 units. When price reduces to 4 rupees, quantity is increasing here up to 2000 units. When price is 3 rupees, quantity is increasing up to 3000 units. So when price reduces to 2 rupees, quantity increases 4000. When price is 1, quantity is 5000. That means it shows inverse relationship. That means when price decreases, demand is increasing. When price increases, demand is decreasing. So that is called law of demand. But this law of demand is not having it is having some limitations. It may not be applicable in all situations, in all cases. So it is having some exceptions. Law of demand may not be applicable in all cases and all situations. It is having some exceptions. So those exceptions are also called as limitations of law of demand. So all these are the situations where we can't apply the law of demand. So every time when price falls, demand won't rise. Every time when price increases, demand won't decrease. So certain limitations will be there. So those are exceptions of law of demand, or we can say that limitations of law of demand. So in the case of inferior goods or given goods, so as I said earlier, inferior goods and superior goods. So in the case of inferior goods, the law of demand may not be applicable. So it is also called as giffen goods. Giffen means Robert Giffen, he is a British economist. He observed this situation, that's why it is also called as giffen goods, or we can say the Giffen paradox. So in the case of inferior goods, if price of the product decreases, demand also decreases. So it shows positive relationship. But according to the law of demand, there should be a negative relationship. When price increases, demand should decrease. But in the case of inferior goods, both are decreasing. So if price reduces, demand also reduces. Next situation is prestigious goods or Veblen goods. So Veblen, he is a person, he is an American economist. He observed this situation, that's why he named it. So prestigious goods are also called as superior goods, comfortable or luxury goods. In the case of prestigious goods, some of the people may purchase the products, luxury products and comfortable products, even though they are costlier. So they may have cars, but again, if they have a new car model, then they'll purchase the that car in order to show their status in front of the society. So those goods comes under prestigious goods. So imported cars, imported bikes, jewelry. So all those luxury goods comes under prestigious goods. So even though they are costly, the people may purchase those products. So here price increases, demand also increases. So it shows again positive relationship. That's why in this case also law of demand may not be applicable. Next, extraordinary situations. Extraordinary situations are nothing but some uncertain situations like civil wars, 144 sections, pandemic situations, floods, earthquakes, tsunamis. So in the case of all these uncertain events, here also law of demand may not be applicable. So if we take the example of 144 section, people are not allowed to roam on the roads. So they'll give certain time period. In that time period only they need to purchase all those necessaries. So at that time the seller will take the advantage. So they may increase the price. Even though the product prices increases, we need to purchase that. So in that situation also law of demand may not be applicable. So in the pandemics, in other uncertain situations also law of demand may not be applicable. Even though the product price is very high, we must purchase that in order to lead our life, in order to satisfy our needs and wants, we need to purchase those. Changes in fashions, habits, attitudes and preferences of the customer. As I said earlier, taste and preference of the customer is an important element for demand. So it will always influence the demand of a particular product. So if any customer is having that particular taste in that particular brand, he will prefer that brand only. If he is having a preference towards that particular brand, he'll purchase even though the product price is very high. Even though it is costlier, they will purchase the product. So in all these cases, law of demand may not be applicable. So in all these cases, we can see positive relationship like demand. If price decreases, demand also decreases. If price increases, demand also increases. So but according to the law of demand, there should be a negative relationship. So here in all these cases, that law is not applicable. So that's why all these situations are called as exceptions of law of demand. Next, when coming to the elasticity of demand, so elasticity means it's a measurement. So it's a measurement between demand and price and other determinants of demand. So here we are going to measure the responsive changes between demand and its determinants of demand. So that is called elasticity of demand. So when coming to the definition according to Professor Balding, elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness of the quantity demanded to changes in price. So as I said earlier, we are going to measure the responsive changes or percentage changes between demand and its determinants of demand like price, income, advertising, substitution, all these determinants. That is called elasticity of demand. And when coming to the elasticity types of elasticities, generally we are having 4 types of elasticities. First one is price elasticity of demand. Second one, income elasticity of demand. Third one, cross elasticity of demand. Fourth one is advertising elasticity of demand. It is also called as promotional elasticity of demand. So these are the 4 types of elasticities. That is price elasticity, income elasticity, cross elasticity and advertising or promotional elasticity of demand. So before going to all these topics in depth, we need to know what is the meaning of elastic demand and inelastic demand. So elastic demand means when a small change in price leads to a drastic change in demand, then it represents elastic demand. So in generally, what is the meaning of elastic? Elastic means which expands. So that means here a small change, a little change in price leads to a drastic change in demand, then it represented as elastic demand. Next, inelastic demand means whatever may be the change in price, the demand is more or less constant here. So demand won't change according to the changes in price. So even though the price increases or decreases, the demand will be constant. So that is called inelastic demand. That means any changes does not influence the demand of a certain product. So we can know by knowing this meaning of elastic demand and inelastic demand, we are going to discuss about the other concepts like price elasticity in detail. Price elasticity means here we are going to measure the responsive changes between price and demand. So by having a certain formula, that is percentage change in demand by percentage change in price. So this price elasticity is again classified into different types like perfectly elastic demand, perfectly inelastic demand, unitary elastic demand, relatively elastic demand and relatively inelastic demand. So all these things will be discussed later. So here these are the 4 categories of elasticities of demand, that is price elasticity, income elasticity, cross elasticity and advertising elasticity. Thank you.